We are EOSphere. We have a proxy on the Telos network called GoodGuys for Telos. And this is the place where you can hear all about the good work that the block producers that we vote for are doing. Oh, welcome, guys. Can you tell us a little bit about your team?
I'd love to. Thanks very much for having us on, Ross. This is myself and Jim. As you probably know, Jim and I are the main figureheads of TelosUK. But behind us we have some technical dark lords who do all of the the really scary techie stuff. I've got a bit of a technical background, but not the level required to run nodes. So for that we've got Paul, and also we've got our new hire David as well, who quite groundbreakingly he's now working for us and being paid exclusively in Telos, which is the first time we've ever been able.
That's pretty cool.
So that's really good. But just to put the side on that is that's only while he's learning. So at some point in the future, he's probably going to be coming to me and wanting to renegotiate a fiat rate. But it means that we can bring him in and still give him something.
Absolutely.
What we're earning. Yeah. So we've got David and Gary, and then also we've got Ellie behind us as well, who helps with a lot of the video production and marketing stuff. And then we're really fortunate to have very supportive family members. So my wife Bev, and all of our other supporters like Martin.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
The young Anthony as well should also get a mention, because he's our sort of guinea pig of the next generation. We're trying to find out. He's my stepson, and we're trying to find out what interest, what it would take to get a 17-year-old interested in Telos and blockchain and that. So definitely he deserves a mention as well, because I'm sure his generation are going to be getting more out of this than we are.
Cool. All right. Tell us a little bit about the origin story. Where did TelosUK, or EOSUK for that matter, where did it all come from?
Well, you're telling the story already, aren't you? Yes. So TelosUK is started or came out of EOSUK, which of course we're still registered as a block producer on the EOS blockchain as well, but not in the pay zone at the moment, unfortunately. So that was where we started with the EOSIO family of blockchain. Prior to that, very interested in Bitcoin and mining and Ethereum and all of the other blockchain technology that came before EOSIO. And I've been working full time on the internet since 1995, so I'm kind of a grandpa in this space. And I was fortunate enough to meet Jim through our running club, because as you can tell, we're both elite athletes, or we were. Yeah, that's right. We were elite athletes. So Jim, why don't you explain how you got involved in TelosUK?
Well, I'm from a very different background, which I think is quite important, because this notion of mass adoption is something that we're really big on in TelosUK and EOSUK as well, which is a big thing that we're trying to really push, this mass adoption notion. I was actually an assistant head teacher at an academy trust in the city of where I live, in Nottingham, Greenwood Academy Trust, which is one of the largest academy trusts in Great Britain. And the trust specialised in working with schools that are in difficult circumstances and working in the city areas. So I've worked all my life in areas that of deprivation, if you like, and in challenging circumstances. So having 25 years of being either a teacher or assistant head teacher, I was on a little bit of a sabbatical when I met Roger at the running club, and we got talking about various projects that I was dealing with in education. So I was dealing with SharePoint, I was doing the timetabling, I was doing sort of all the data-driven work in the academy with packages like Cicero and all things like this. And I remember it clearly because we were talking about it this morning. I remember clearly where we were on our run, where Roger was talking about something, and I said, "Oh, you know, I think I need to change of direction. What I was doing was sort of hurting me mentally, if you like." And after 25 years, you might realise that, you know, you've got to sort of only so long in that industry, I think, and I think it's quite challenging. So.
You can only be shot at so many times, Jim.
Yeah,
You
know.
Do you know,
it's interesting that you want to break up.
It's interesting you say that you're in education, because I wouldn't say it's super common, but there are a lot of teachers and headmasters and people that have been involved in education in the entire crypto community, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some synergies really, because a lot of you had to learn a lot of the stuff yourself. There was an expectation that there was this data-driven model, or came over the hill very quickly in education, and people had to learn very quickly. Roger sort of said to me, "Why don't you come and work for me?" And I said to him, he says, "Well, I don't know anything about it." And Roger's response was, "I bet you know more than you do."
You'll learn.
And I sort of came on board with Advanced Productions, and then we moved into to EOS and then to Telos, and you know, I was all part of the Telos launch group. I was the chair of the Telos launch group all hands calls, which were great fun, and that's how I ended up here. So it's a bit of a diverse way in, but I'm here and I'm sitting and we're out swinging with TelosUK.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So moving on a little bit more into the tech side of things, can you tell us a little bit about your node deployment, your tech setup, your data centers?
Yeah, sure. So well, we started with EOS. We started with the data center here in Nottingham, and you know, it invested a huge amount of my personal fortune in setting up this incredible system, and you know, obviously EOS didn't work out the way we wanted it to, so we've ended up now with a different setup. We've got still bare metal, of course, because you know it's got to be bare metal, otherwise you're not playing the game properly, I don't think. But so we've got, at the moment, we've got 2 data centers that we use. One's in Falkenstein in Germany, and the other one's in Helsinki. So we basically swap, you know, the live production node between those 2 locations as we bring up new servers. So at the moment we've got i7 server in Helsinki, which is running the production node, and Paul's just bringing up the new shiny new i9 server back in Germany. So
the old 9900K.
Yeah, so with you know, 5 gigahertz on the clock, you just think, wow, I've never seen that before. You know, something that starts with a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once that's synced and you know, it's happy and been sat there for a week or so, then we'll move the, you know, reg producer node back to Germany, and then probably repeat the process, you know, back at the Helsinki data center.
Yeah, and of course you guys are top 21 on Telos. You are really right up there, position 2, I think, or 3.
What's that? Sorry, I missed that.
You positioned 3 at the moment on Telos, so absolutely top 20.
Oh, block producer ranking. Oh, well, we don't look at that anymore.
Yeah. what I'm getting at is, obviously it's important to make sure that your setup is working effectively, because you can't dropping in.
Of course, I'm only teasing because you know, we live and die by what's happening on that page, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, the technical side of it's really important, but I think one of the things that I've always done, because you know, my sort of profession, if you like, is an internet consultant, and that's what I've been doing for years and years and years, looking about with servers and stuff. And what I've learned is, if it's not broke, you know, don't fix it, don't muck about with it, just leave it and leave it running. If it's running, then leave it until it stops running, or you absolutely have to do something with it in order to be compliant or patch a, you know, a security issue or something like that. Yeah. And I do see this quite a lot within the Slack channel. You know, people going, "Oh, I've upgraded blah, 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 over the weekend, and now I've got problem X." It's like, well, you know, why did you feel the need to do that in the first place? Because it's just running, you know, and pretty much like your email server, you know, your email server, it's running. You just leave it running until you absolutely have to change it. But what's really important is the email messages that it's sending and what you can do with that versus writing a letter. And that's what, you know, that's the view I take with block production, is running the node and making sure it's working, tick. What can we do with blockchain? That's what's really important.
Obviously, it's important to ensure you have the appropriate security patches. But yeah, I agree with you. You don't want to just be upgrading for the sake thereof, right? I suppose there's also a stage net and a test net on Telos, which is something that we should utilize. So moving a little bit on, what have you guys been up to of late, other than running a optimum Nodius blockchain deployment in your data centers? What's been happening?
I mean, obviously, Jim is very involved with the Telos Foundation, Mr. President. So, Jim, you might just have a quick mention on that, and then I'll talk about some of the
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of my time still working with the Telos Foundation, as hopefully everybody knows that when Telos was created, that we also created something called the Telos Foundation, which was gifted 6 million tokens. And it was the idea being that the foundation, there were 12 members who would then run and guide the promotion and the sort of general steerage of Telos moving forward. So it's a place for people to come to. It's a sort of a place, a real human face, if you like, behind the blockchain. And the idea is that we are there to promote Telos and try and move it forward in towards mass adoption, I suppose, would be the best way of putting it. Clearly, as with all these things, is what people don't understand is that we were literally given a blank piece of paper and said, get on with it. And this is such a new area. And we've been dealing with the governance side of setting up a large corporation, if you like. We've got to get all the business set up. We've had to get all the government side set up. But the thing that everybody in the community wants to know is when CoinMarketCap, and it seems to be the foundation's role has been to try and engage with enough exchanges to get us on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, that's the platform.
Sorry?
That's definitely the platform to get noticed.
Yes, it is, and we are working really hard to get that. But unfortunately, everybody wants things instant in this space, and it isn't instant. We're dealing with some exchanges that haven't used EOSphere software, and so we're having to do the integration work with that. We've got great devs working on that. I know you've interviewed Jesse at Kalios. He's doing fantastic work on that. And there's loads of people working in the background, and it's that takes up all my time, and it is it's a full-time job being part of. I mean, everyone left the launch group, and it felt like it just left 12 of us behind to carry on doing the launch group. So it felt a bit scary.
We're working with 100 people basically having to be condensed down to 12,
Down to 12, yeah. But but also I just think it's so important that we, the idea is that we can sort of promote Telos as well. The fact that we've got, I was part of the group that edited and wrote the TMBOA. The fact that we've got a constitution, the fact that we've got arbitrators that I'm part of the group that liaises with the arbitrators, and we get them on board, and we help on board them. We've got 4 people elected already. There's a new election going through. That's groundbreaking. That's massive, and the fact that we've got worker proposals being voted on, that's massive. That's not happening anywhere else. And that's all part of the work that I'm doing in the foundation, just helping and guiding that sort of work. So I'm keeping myself busy, Ross, don't worry.
No, sounds like it.
So then in between Jim's work with the foundation, I managed to get him to help me with some of our projects, and we've got the See My Telos project, which is sort of just bumbling along in the background, because of course everything is driven by the economics of being a Telos block producer. I've pretty much spent my personal fortune, so we're now down to the point where moving forward here, Telos has got to try and sort of wash its own face, as they say. So
I get it.
So that doesn't really leave us a lot of room for developing cool apps and things like that. So we are focusing specifically on the onboarding of people and the mass adoption. So one of the tools that we've found that it seems to be lacking is the ability to just look at all of your accounts and how much Telos you've got that's available and not locked and things like that, and just trying to help people get access to it without having to install scatter, install software, and understand, like, when you're looking at a block explorer, what on earth is all of that RAM, CPU, bandwidth? People just can't cope with that. I mean, we can barely cope with it, can we? I mean, it's like you've had to learn what that is. It's still like, it's just like, oh. So yeah, we've got seemytelos.com, which isn't ready yet, but if anybody wants to go and have a look at it from just hearing me say it, they can go along and see that.
If you give me the link, I'll put it in the description.
Well, yeah, but at the moment we're just doing it verbally because it's not ready. So anybody that's an enthusiast has picked that up, they'll go and have a look. But obviously, once it gets launched, then we'll be sending links out and things.
Okay, that's awesome.
But yeah, so the challenge that we're doing on that at the moment is changing the token. So when you change the token from Telos to Acorn, for example, then it shows you the balances of the Acorns on all of your accounts. I mean, it's quite a simple thing, and anybody else could go out there and do it. And that's the beauty of the blockchain. It's just giving you access to all this information that's publicly available, and presenting it in a different way. And if I asked you to do the same thing, you'd probably present it in a different way from me. And that's the beauty of it, is that everybody can do it. So that leads me on to what I'm really excited about, which is Acorn at the moment. The Acorn project is just, it's a gift to the world. It really is. I'm so excited about it. I can barely sleep, Ross. Literally, I'm waking up in the middle of the night and going, oh my God, I can't believe it. What do I do? And my wife's like, oh, not again. And I'm off and I have to go and type it up because I'm just so excited about it. Literally shaking with enthusiasm for this project. So that's where we're focused on at the moment. We're going to be launching that so soon, within the next few days. And that is, it's a project for everybody in the world. It's something that everybody in the whole world can benefit from. And so what we're doing is we're publishing it in an unbranded portal. So it's not going to have TelosUK on it. And I've sort of come up with this idea of We Are Telos is the brand. So if you guys want to take it, and it's an onboarding tool for new users onto Telos through the Acorn token. So you guys can use it. You can create these kinds of handout cards. So there's Mr. Camera that we've got here. So it's a conversation starter. You can basically pass that to anybody, get them onto the Acorn website, and they can then onboard themselves onto Telos through the free accounts, through the Squirrel wallet, and actually start using blockchain technology and start thinking about how blockchain technology
sounds awesome,
but without having to buy it, without having to pay for it. So that's just huge, and we've got some really interesting use cases that we're putting together on the announcement, which again is going to be unbranded. So we hope that EOSphere and all of the other block producers take the announcement and publish it through their own centers of influence. So
I look forward to hearing more about it. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I mean, it really speaks to me on the education side of things, because it's going to be a step-by-step of people. It'll be so many people's first experience of using the blockchain. And to be perfectly honest with you, Rod, it's too hard as it is now.
It can be pretty daunting, yeah.
Version 2, version 3, version 4 will be easier. But at the minute, we've got what we've got, so we've decided, right, we're not going to wait. We're going to try and get people to use you know, get people on board with a free account. It's a way to actually get people engaged with the blockchain and get new accounts on the Telos blockchain. And so it's a win-win for everybody. And yeah, I really hope that once we get this together, people are going to go and run with it. But not in, this is the big thing for me, not in the blockchain space, in the real world.
Yeah.
Take the cards that we've done and go to the real world and say, this is something, you know. And I think driving the real world mass adoption is going to be something that, you know, we've always banged on about as EOSUK, and we carry on as TelosUK.
Yeah. We're very passionate about boots on the ground, and it's a phrase that Jim used to use, and I really do like that. And basically, it's a way that anybody can begin a conversation with anybody else about the benefits of blockchain without it having to be about investment, without it having to be about money, but, you know, actually the social benefit of how blockchain can, you know, help transform our world for the better.
Yeah, sounds fantastic, and I definitely look forward to reading more about it and maybe having a go, and like you said, getting involved. I'm sure we will. So is there anything that you would finally like to share with everybody that's watching about Telos or TelosUK?
Well, I suppose I'd like to just sort of say to everybody, just hang in there with Telos. You know, I mean, the Telos price is low. You know, the Telos token is not very well represented on exchanges. The marketing of Telos is not as good as it could be, and a lot of people are like down on that, and they're like, oh. But what Telos is doing is so different from everything that's come before in the blockchain space, you know, because it's not funded. It's funded only by community sweat equity capital, people like us doing things like this. And let's face it, none of us are really doing it for the money, because there isn't any at the moment. So, you know, we're doing it because of the passion and why, the reason why. And so anybody that's sort of looking at Telos and going, oh, it's wrecked, you know, Telos is wrecked. It's like, well, go on to another coin. You know, if you're looking to invest in cryptocurrency, that's not what Telos is about. Telos is about the community, the people behind it, and that is a global movement that is just going to grow massively. And so, yeah, hang in there. Don't criticise, contribute. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying there's so many great applications coming along. There's so many great opportunities, and it's a really exciting space to be in. And you know, it's a matter of everyone just keeping the faith, if you like, and really working hard to promote this thing. And you know, if we build it, people will come. It's as simple as that. And you know, we've made the start, and it's going to be, you know, we've got great minds, we've got great people, and it's a pleasure to be working in this space, definitely.
Excellent. What's the best way for anybody who wants to contact you to get hold of you?
Just go on the website, TelosUK.io. Everything can start there. From there, you can get on to Telegram or the social
I'll put a link in the description.
You can even get our phone number, and you can ring me up, and somewhere around here there'll be a phone, but nobody seems to use it anymore. But you can actually ring us up, and you know, we really want to hear from people that are enthusiastic about you know, the social impact of blockchain and how it's going to transform our world. If that's what you're into, give me a ring and we'll have a conversation.
Excellent. Well, guys, thanks for being on the show.
As well, sorry, one last call out to educators and industry leaders. You know, the educators, particularly in the universities and at the schools, they're just not taking blockchain seriously. And you know, like the internet suddenly came along and whoosh, changed the world. You know, what blockchain is going to do to the world is it will make that look like just a breeze, you know. And so the people that are responsible for educating our next generation, they really need to start taking a look at blockchain, and particularly Telos, because, you know, it's the best one there is at the moment. So why not?
Thanks for coming on the show, guys. All the best projects and endeavors, and I'm pretty sure we'll keep seeing you around the Telos network.
Well, I hope so. Last man standing, that's my mission.
Cheers, guys.
All right, Ross, thanks for this. Cheers now.